Wilson, the National Director of Softball Scouting and National Scouting Report. Hey, I wanted to make sure and come at you guys and kind of fill you in on something we're going to start doing. Obviously we have the live show Turn by Turn on Facebook Live that we put, on the YouTube channel. But what we're also going to start doing is start having a little bit more smaller informational segments that should help you, be able to get to your day-to-day on your recruiting. Obviously, if you're an NSR prospect that's watching, you don't necessarily have to worry about you just text your scout. But for those of you that aren't NSR prospects, I still don't, I don't like the idea of y'all, stressing. The recruiting process is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be exciting. It's supposed to be exhilarating. But too many girls are freaking out about too many things, and they're just starting to overstress and overthink. Starting that off today, today's topic is, while very, very clear, it is humorous to me because I endured it. So I get home from camp, and I'm in the office, and I'm on the phone with Coach. And those of y'all that don't know my wife, the wife is, she's a go-getter, and some of the things that as a man, as the man of the household, I should love doing. I don't, and she does. The simple thing, I love being outside, but I hate mowing, I hate weed eating, especially now with the new house, more acreage. I'm not a huge fan. The wife, it's almost like therapy. She loves going out there, loves mowing, loves relaxing, taking her time, her earphones on with the music on, but do not disturb. It's her thing. And not too long ago, we got a big bad boy mower, that has all the bells and whistles and everything, and it's her thing. Back to the story. I'm talking to a coach, and mid conversation, my wife, all of a sudden comes into the office, opens up the door, shuts it, and she's got black stuff all down her neck, black stuff all down her arm, and she has this look, and my first thoughts, those guys that y'all that are watching, y'all know exactly where I'm coming from. It clicks in your head like, oh man, did I forget something? What did I do? Oh man. She comes in, shuts the door. I end up getting off the phone with the coach, and she says, okay, so I broke the lawnmower. And so of course I laugh, because I'm thinking, it wouldn't be the first time that, she says, I did this, and I go in and, babe, there's a switch right here that goes on and off. Don't kill me. As she gets to explain it, she says, well, the wheels fell off. And, as I go to step outside, I'm like, you gotta show me this. I go, and the front yard looks good, the side looks good, she's got a majority, and I go to the side of the house. She wasn't kidding. This mower, this big bad boy mower that we had just bought a couple of months ago, probably doesn't have that many miles on it. Go over there, and she was not kidding. The wheel, the front left wheel, is literally 20 yards or 20 feet from the mower. And and I look, and the mower is like this, and I come up and I look, and sure enough, that sucker is not only off, but the I guess it would still be called an axle, is dug down into the dirt. It's literally, my point to that, I go out, and of course we laugh a little bit, and it's not like a standard car wheel or anything where there's lug nuts or anything. So I'm like, okay, so we put the wheel back on because I ain't carrying it, and get it back over to the shop, and we end up figuring out, she's front yard looks good, right side of the house, it all looks good, and then you go to the left side of the house and then into the backyard, and because of the trail that she was making, it literally has half of it done, but it's not like it's like divided down in half. It's it looks like a puzzle piece, and so we realized we don't have very many neighbors, but the neighbor that we do have, he is obsessed with his yard. Great guy, obsessed with his yard. The kind of guy that goes outside with scissors to trim that one weed that's over in the left corner, and he's talked to us about different types of nutrients we need to have on our yard. He's that guy. I'm not that guy. So we know that we can't leave the backyard and half of the side undone or incomplete because we know 7 a.m. in the morning we'll get a knock on the door. So we end up, of course, we think about it for a second, what are we going to do? And so of course we end up calling my father-in-law, and he brings over, his, big heavy-duty mower and ends up, knocking it out for us. He's one of those guys that doesn't want you using his mower because he's very particular about his equipment. But he ends up knocking it out for us and doing it himself, so that everything was complete. Luckily, it's not summertime where the grass is growing every other day and stuff like that. So, we know that we got a little bit of time there. And we get done and we have a good little laugh at it, and we're sitting there and my wife said, after doing all that and I was sitting there and I couldn't figure out what exactly I did wrong, all she was doing was turning a corner. It shouldn't have happened, but machines are meant to mess up, and anytime there's, something being built, that means that there's pieces, which means there's a possibility one piece isn't put together. My point to that, and my point to that whole story is this: when the wheel fell off, we both could have very easily said, you know what, forget it, that mower is going to rust out in the yard, we're done with the grass, the neighbor is going to learn to hate us, no HOA, but might as well with a neighbor like that. But my point to that is mowing the lawn and a wheel coming off is no different than you girls going through the recruiting process right now. What I started thinking about later on in the day is how many kids I end up seeing and end up going to talk to, and when a wheel falls off, they automatically jump ship. When they have been to the same camp 10 times, or honestly, realistically, has been to the same camp 2 or 3 times, 4 times, and the coach gives them the same response: hey, make sure you send me your schedule, and hey, make sure you're sending me email updates. And they misinterpret some of that as interest, and after a little bit of time, well, then they think, okay, well, this coach, I've been, and nothing's happened, so I need to be more realistic and readjust my sights. And so what happens is all of a sudden you have this kid who is completely D1 capable or completely D2 capable, all of a sudden, drop her expectations. And then nothing against, any division. Finding the right fit is the key. But even to the point of, one of the kids that I talked to yesterday, phenomenal stud, flat out stud, but the kid, really likes this NAI program down the road, and she's been to the camp over and over and over, and he hasn't pulled the trigger. And I know for a fact that kid is a bubble kid. She could play the small D1 and some of the top D2s. In having a conversation with her, when I asked her the 1 out of 10 scale, how bad do you want to play college ball? She gives me a 7. And I'm almost kind of flabbergasted. And after talking to mom and dad, I figure out, okay, they're not sure where this is coming from either. And then she breaks it down. I've been to, we'll call it XYZ University. I've been to XYZ University 6 times, and he hasn't invited me on a visit, hasn't made an offer. I just figured, that if I was good enough to get recruited, it would happen. And so I end up, talking to the kid a little bit, ask her if she trusts me, ask her, I start working with the kid. 2 phone calls later from coaches, the kid had a small boat, didn't want to go far from home. But 2 phone calls to 2 other coaches with a couple of other things. Next thing you know, she's on the phone with them. After I send her the stuff, she's on the phone with them, and they make offers. And the kid calls me just tearing up, bawling, you were right, this, that, and the other, and it all of a sudden, of course, that kind of stuff, it hits you in the heart a little bit, and, a little tear jerk. But it also makes me realize, I think that is probably one of the biggest things I see coast to coast, is when a wheel falls off, abandoning ship or modifying, or abandoning the ship instead of modifying the approach. If you are dead set, let's say you are a Power 5 level kid, but you were dead set on this one school, you might not be that college coach's type. You might not be his type of player. You may not fit his type of program. You may not fit his type of school. He may be done with your graduation year in your position. Regardless, the point is, just because he says no, doesn't mean that the other schools in their conference are going to say no. Doesn't mean that other schools that are at the same level are going to say no. Every kid, and I use Power 5 as an example because I see it more often that way because there's more of a trickle-down opportunity. Every kid that I have playing in Power 5 right now originally had a couple of other schools that were at the top of their list. But they understood that college softball recruiting is a business, and they understood not to take it personal when the college coach says something like that. And when the coach says, hey, I see why you sent her, she's talented, but she's just not what I'm looking for. Or the other coach says, hey, I'm actually done with her class. They didn't, they took the lump on the chin, but at the same time, they saw it as productive, and they washed their hands of it and moved on to the others. And so my point to that is this: just because a wheel falls off doesn't mean that you should totally jump ship. It means modify your approach, open up your horizons, open up your vision, open up your mind, and understand it's never the end. There's 1,669 college softball programs out there. Within what's inside of your bubble, your regionally accepted distance from home, there are multiple opportunities no matter who you are and where you live. So just because one coach doesn't like you doesn't mean that there's not still another opportunity out there. Just like the wheel falling off the lawnmower, that wasn't the only lawnmower that was ever built, and that coach that told you no, that's not the end of the road for you either.